You are listening to the Angie True Podcast Radio Network.
I'm not sponsored, but gray matter, blue light glasses are really stylish and nice, and I like them. So buy them. Gray matter, sponsor me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bananas Toast podcast. We are recapping season 37. This is episode 3, Truce or There. And without further ado, I'm today a third of this podcast, the Angie Chew, and another third, Mr. Alexander.
Baba. And I'm everyone's favorite father figure, weird uncle, pancake eating, hot dog loving, black truck driving, getting super stupid Papa D.
Woo! Yeah, my lovely Mama Chew is a bit under the weather, so we have little Xandir with us. You guys probably saw him on Instagram and Twitter. My post I made premiere night where we're wearing matching Johnny Banana shirts. But he's usually chill. We'll see if he behaves. But yeah, fun stuff. I was telling Papa D before this episode started, if you guys follow any of the cast on Twitter, it's been a wild 24 hours. There's people fighting, there's tea being spilled. Tory was apparently barking up Ed's tree, even though he has a girlfriend. So Tory's got this very clear pattern. And I'm like, oh, girl. She's also been run off of social media from Tasha's fans. Josh has had to go private. Amanda and Cory are dropping bombs. Johnny Bananas is pissed and threatening to come out of semi-retirement if they don't leave his girl Big T alone, because Big T and Kyle are what's left of the banana boat at this point. So it's been fun to watch the past 24 hours on Twitter.
Oh God, with everything going on with this show, it sounds like Twitter is becoming more interesting than this show is. This show at this point, just from where we left off, worth 2 more rookies going home and moving forward now, is just, good God, it's more of the same and why I stopped watching this show. But we start off with the victors coming back and happy with their win and new partners. Emmy especially is happy with Devin and his brains. She realizes this show is not all about just bronze. You need brains to win a final, and so she thinks Devin's going to take her there. Ed and Tory get to know each other. They do flirt a little. She likes his positivity, and I just honestly put a note, purely because his soul hasn't been darkened by this game yet. If he keeps make no mistakes, like he's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed rookie. I'm just happy to be here and win some money, and it's like, yeah, it's his first game, and he isn't wrapped up in any of the drama, politics, or BS yet. Give it time. He's coming out a different person if he makes it to a final. And if he comes back, good God, his mother ain't gonna recognize him. Fessy overall is happy that Kels is gone, in which case he talks to Big T. Basically he kind of just lets her know they don't know where her alliances lie, and she feels left out of the conversation and plans, just because she's friends with rookies, but she's ultimately a vet, but they just don't know where to go with her. And so basically that's where we leave the day with the elimination and everything. And then the next day is basically just tanning and a workout montage. Nelly T is holding the boot camp, working out with the rookies.
I loved this montage. Like, I mean, you can tell at this point, I've mentioned before that they're really, the rookies are going in a lot, but they're really hoping some of these rookies stick because they lost all of their like War of the Worlds one generation for social media. And so they're basically having to start over with some old vets. And you can tell the people they're putting stock into on the vet side and Nelly T is definitely one. Like, they are giving him so many sound bites. They're giving him so much exposure, especially for a guy who just a few seasons ago was like the douchey hothead. Like, he's really come into his role and MTV's loving it, because I don't think we've ever seen a boot camp montage for someone before. And they managed to shell out the royalties to get Nicki Minaj's Anaconda to play. If you watched live American version, if you watched in Canada or overseas or on Prime, it's generic music, but when it aired, it was Anaconda, so they paid a lot of money for that. And we also get to see that the Ashley Berna dynamic is continuing. Ashley is just relaxing poolside with Amanda. They're just chilling, and Berna is going ham with her workouts, and she's also eyeing Nelson as he's doing the workouts, and it's just fun that Ashley's just like grr, and Berna's like, I need to be strong. Ooh, Nelson.
Oh my God, Nelson thinks he's vibing with her, and Ashley's just super jealous over it. And she thinks that women are projecting their emotions onto her just because of their insecurities and things along that nature. Cory is scared that but Coryell also, we get to him, and he's scared he's going to keep being sent in. So he strategizes with Gabo, and he knows the rookies have the numbers and need to take control of this game. And at this point, it's like, bro, yeah, you did have the numbers, and as we find out later, you no longer do. He knows being on a rookie team is a risk. Since he's with Michelle, he just knows that a rookie team is just an easy target for these vets who he knows are working together. The entire house at this point, every rookie knows the vets are working together at this point. It's impossible for them not to. It's just one of those things where they're just not manning up and actually just doing anything about it. But he talks to Gabo, and Gabo co-signs the fact that being on a rookie team is a risk. But Gabo does feel safe with his partner for now because he's with a vet. So to an extent, he's hiding behind the vet. I don't blame him, because that's how most of these rookies, I feel like, are going to make it through, because they know if they have a vet partner, the target's off of their back for now, because the vets don't want to take aim for each other. We then move to Michelle, who knows she can't stop anyone. She knows she's going to go in again, or at least has that feeling, purely because people think she's a threat, and she's also just a rookie, and she's a strong rookie. So it is what it is. She's also interested in Emmanuel, and thinks basically she's just naturally attracted to him, and they're talking. She thinks that he is a diamond in the rough, and that if she gets with him, she can smooth out the rough edges and shine him up. People, for the love of God, I am 31 years old. I've said it once, and I've said it 1,000 times over. Stop getting in relationships, and this is for men and women, and just thinking, oh, it's a fixer-upper. And stop getting in relationships knowing you're going to have to change these people. For the love of God, stop. It's different if you get in a relationship and you're thinking, oh, well, I like him. There's some things that are annoying, but I'm still like him, and it is what it is. And, if I date him, maybe some of those things, even though I find them annoying, they're endearing, but, it's okay. That's different than, oh, I'm dating this person. Oh, they're like a 7 now, but I'm going to make them a 10 when I'm done. And it's like, no, stop bullshit, because that's how you end up getting heartbroken, when this person doesn't want to change. This person is okay with them being themselves, and you're just trying to change them into your image of what you want them to be. And that is not okay. You are out here just getting in a relationship knowing full well you're going to change this person. And I'm not okay with that. And I don't think anyone should be. I'm going to get in a relationship with somebody because they like me for me. And yes, maybe there's a better version of me out there. For example, there's definitely a version of me that's probably loses 40 pounds and comes in at a okay 200. And maybe with the right woman, I'd hate to say it, but yes, with the right woman, and we get in the interest we have, maybe that ends up happening. But at the same time, it's not going to happen because she's just tricking me or things along that nature. It's going to happen because, you know what? We just have similar interests, and she makes me get into new things. And the byproduct of that new thing is a little bit healthier. I lose a little bit of freaking weight, and that's fine. It wasn't intentional. It's just we started doing stuff together. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Thank you for going to my TED Talk.
No, it makes sense. I mean, we mentioned this last week. I had like a little segment with, you know, Ashley and Nelson, where it's like Ashley knows this man, they're friends. He's telling her, I'm a bad boyfriend, and she's still falling for him. At the same time, he's doing confessionals about, you know, just using her as a hookup, and he thinks that's all it is. And she's getting jealous. And it's like the weirdest thing is that I know, especially women, but sometimes men have this I can change the person complex. But you normally see it in high school and college. Like, you know, Ashley is 34. I don't know how old Michelle is, but I'm going to assume she's at least 30. Like, not as an insult to her, but she looks like a good 30, 31, like around our age.
Right.
She doesn't look like a spring chicken, like how I was surprised that Big T is 30. She looks a lot younger, but she's not up in the CT range. And she should know, first of all, you can't change someone. Second, you really can't change someone like Emmanuel. Like, I love him and Emmy because they are crazy Romanians. But like Emmanuel is covered head to toe in tattoos. He calls himself a vampire. Like, if you actually go on MTV's website and look at his bio, it talks about how he's a vampire and loves drinking blood and sharpening his fangs and stuff. Like, that is his whole, I don't even know if it's a persona. I feel like that's who he became in his middle and high school days, and he just ran with it. He doesn't feel the need to become normal. And so when you have someone who's probably pushing 30 and has basically gone through his adolescence as a vampire, you're not going to change him. He is who he is. And if she doesn't want to flirt with a vampire, date a vampire, take a vampire home to mom and dad, you don't need to be with Emmanuel, because that, I feel like that's one of just the things about him that draw people to him. So Michelle needs to realize if she likes this man, he's coming as is. I think the most likely people to change on this entire show, other than CT, because I think CT's in a spot where he's not changing for anyone, would be Emmy and Emmanuel. Like, they are who they are, and you're not gonna bat your eyes and be like, okay, I'm not gonna do this anymore.
Very true, but Emmanuel also likes her. He doesn't mention anything about changing anything, but at the same time, he does like her. So we get on to the daily, which is a sea cave recon. Basically, it's a sea cave diving relay race. Players will start off on a 30-foot cliff. They have to take a jump. After they take a jump, they have to swim to a flag and then pull themselves down to retrieve a bomb. Then they have to go and swim deep into a cave, grab the second bomb, then swim out of it, swim all the way to a wave rider. Basically, hold on to the back of it when the wave rider is going to drag them through the sea to a drop-off point. At that drop-off point, they then swim to shore, place both bombs on the podium. Once that's done, their time is stopped. Fastest team wins. In which case, our first team up doesn't disappoint because it's Ashley and Huey versus Anissa and Logan. Huey is basically just terrified to jump. When I say this man is scared out of his mind, it's not an understatement. Scared so much he legitimately does throw up because of it. And what surprised me, what shocked me, but then when I thought about it, didn't surprise me that much, is him and Ashley actually kiss a little bit to like show of solidarity. Nothing romantic about it. But all I'm like, why are you kissing me after he just threw up? Stop it. But at the same time, like, this is Ashley. I guarantee she's shared some vomity fucking kisses with random guys who just did not care that she was hammered and who just wanted to smash with Smashley. But at the same time, I'm just like, oh God, stop it. Like, that's not okay.
I'm glad you feel the same way, because that was my thought. Like, I love the like hilarity of this team. I love Ashley and Huey because you have like the volatile 2-time winner in Millionaire Mitchell, and you have Huey who wants to do great, but is very much a rookie and like, what have I gotten myself into? And just talks and talks and talks. And you have them just trying to be a partnership, and it's amazing to see. But I also agree, like, the second she kissed him, I'm like, wait, it's Smashley. Like, I'm sure she has kissed plenty of vomity people before. This is nothing to her. Like, she probably made out with vomity people, so just this is nothing. And it's a thing of like, this whole daily is intense, especially for number 3. Like, if this was later in the season, that's one thing, but you know, I can see people being terrified because the season just started and they're making them do all of this. But eventually, you know, Huey jumps. You know,
not before Ashley basically just complains, itches, and moans like, "Oh my god, I gotta get a new partner," because Huey
she threatens to push him off the cliff too.
Like, Huey almost doesn't make this jump. But when Huey does, Aqua Huey activates, because at this point, once he hits that water, he goes into just super mode and is cutting through this water like a damn shark, and he is doing amazingly well. So much that in the end, at the end of the race, Ashley's the reason they lost. Ashley couldn't keep up with him for whatever reason. So it's just one of those things where I'm just like, you talking about you need to get a new partner? No. Huey may need to get a new partner after this crap, because Ashley, you're the reason that they lost. Just, oh God.
I feel like Huey's got kind of the complex we've seen in some people, including Amber B last season, where with the right partner, he will do amazing, but he needs someone who knows how to work with him. But it also helps that he thought he was literally going to like drown to death if he took too long, because he was like basically getting the fear of dying, you know, just put him into Aqua Huey, and he was able to finish the challenge, well, the daily. And you know, everyone succeeded. Anissa and Logan did good. They beat Ashley and Huey's time, of course, because it took Huey a bit. But everyone completed it. And again, good showing for Anissa. And that's as much as I'm going to say, because I feel like the last 2 or 3 seasons in a row, I start praising Anissa, and then halfway through the season, I have to eat my own words. So right now, I'm just going to congratulate her and hope that she changes my mind. But in the trailer, we see her getting her arm wrapped. So that does not bode well for Anissa. But yeah, next, speaking of injuries, we get Cory, Al, and Michelle versus Ed and Tory. And as usual, Ed is just so pumped about everything. Like, I don't think this man knew that being the last person in on the circle would lead to him being the first circle person on the challenge. And he's just stoked at this point.
He is.
And Michelle is determined to win because she knows, you know, these people have already been in before her and Coriel, so they're an easy target for that. Plus, they're a rookie team. So she's like, we need to win to stay out of this. And everyone jumps in. There no real hesitation. And the way she hits the water, blood just starts gushing from her nose. And there's so much like intensity in the waves, she doesn't even notice. And Coriel just chooses not to tell her because doesn't want to freak her out because she's doing good. And Ed is just like, oh, this is gnarly. And, you know, Tory just doesn't really comment on it. I think she's just like, oh, chick's bleeding. Okay, whatever. Ed and Michelle are like MVPs of this heat. Like, Michelle is just chasing Ed down, and he's like, this girl's intense. It's like something out of a horror movie. And they both do a strong finish. And that's when Tory's finally like, your nose is bleeding. And Michelle's like, what? Oh, I guess I am. Like, she just didn't, I guess with the adrenaline, just didn't notice. But good showing for them. Then we get Berna and CT and Tommy and Big T. This is a monumental one because the challenge turns kind of X-rated at this point. And, you know, I know for a fact that when this show airs overseas in all the other countries, like in the UK and stuff, the swearing isn't censored. And anytime there's an asses aren't censored. Like when Devin was pressing ham last season, you saw everything. and that's the way it is with All-Stars. If you watch the challenge All-Stars on Paramount, you see ass and you see, you hear all the cussing. They only blur genitals. So I'm curious, because there's like a 3-week delay. I'm curious if we're going to see some CT cheeks popping up on the internet in a couple of weeks.
Okay, wait. Now I got to know. So do we see boobs on Paramount on All Stars?
No, they're blurring boobs and the
Son of a
vajayjay
bitch.
and the peen
It's not
peen.
worth it. It's not worth it. It's
I mean,
okay. Like, show boobs.
I
Show
mean,
boobs, I'll watch it.
maybe if there were enough. So far, the only boobs I think from last season were Ruthie's, because Ruthie and Tech decided to relive their real world Hawaii days, and they got naked and jumped in the pool, and then Tech kept getting naked in multiple episodes. So you mainly just would have seen a lot of Tech, but you see Ruthie's ass, and you don't see her boobs though. But yeah, the boys jumped in. I mean, the girls too, but the boys are who stands out in this heat. I'm thinking it's never explained, but what would make sense to me is the way Tommy hit the water is probably what did him in. And I'll get to what I mean by that in a second. But everyone starts the task. They're doing pretty well. And then we get to the wave runners, and it doesn't go well for the men. So CT loses half of his shorts, but he's got enough oomph in the trunk where they're just kind of like hanging for dear life. So everyone's just laughing because we see CT booty going through. But then poor Tommy loses his entire shorts. So when he gets off the wave runner, he's just, it's all out. It's all out there. And he's having to finish. Huey is like, this is the best day ever. I'm so glad we did this. Like, everyone's hooping and hollering, you know, that these men are basically naked. I don't know if CT ever pulled his pants up, because something tells me he probably didn't, just because he's CT. And as soon as they completed, we get the weirdest combination of events ever, because Tommy just is delirious. Like, the concussion is starting to hit him. You know, he's you know, doesn't really realize at that point that he's naked, basically. He's collapsing, he's puking. Meanwhile, CT still has his pants down, and he's twerking while this man is dying like feet away from him. But he does pay him a compliment. He tells Tommy that was cheating because you had 3 legs. So compliment to Tommy. Apparently, that's why Huey liked it. But I'm just like, CT, a man is dying on the floor, and you are twerking with your cheeks out. Like, come on. And
Jesus Christ.
Eventually Tommy starts to come to, and all of a sudden he's like, can I have some pants? Like, he just realizes he's laying there naked as a jaybird. You know, it's, oh my goodness. Like, I could not believe what I was seeing, that they both just bared it all, literally. And then Tommy just unfortunately took a hit with that water. I didn't rewatch to see how he landed in the water, but I feel like that has to be hit. We didn't see him like hitting any rocks or anything.
True. So basically, it just turns into just Huey was the real winner of this. No matter who won, Huey was the real winner of this, because Huey just enjoyed all of it, where everyone else is just like, I just saw more ginger than I ever needed to see in my entire damn life. But it is what it is. Next, we get Patina and Cory versus Tasha and Jeremiah. And basically, both teams seem really confident, and then they go in the water. Tasha specifically just freaks out and panics and just is trying to hold on to Jeremiah, and basically is not trying to swim this. And Jeremiah is also kind of panicking as well, trying to calm himself. And what ends up happening basically is they don't even finish it. Cory and Patina win. They do well, and basically Tasha and Jeremiah don't even finish. They call it. They're both freaking out. Tasha's trying to just Spider-Man up a wall at this point, trying just to not
like
swim and do what she needs to do.
It was incredible. Like, and Jeremiah, I feel like neither one are probably strong swimmers, and I feel like Jeremiah was just trying to psych himself up. And then as soon as as soon as Tasha's like hanging on to the back of him, like basically drowning him in the water, and he's like, oh my God, get off of me, get off of me. I feel like that was just donezo for both of them. And unfortunately, because we haven't seen a ton from them, but I do like them. At this point, I was like, they're probably going in. Like, whether they're house vote or they're called in by the agency, you know, they've DQ'd. So unless someone DQs worse, I at this point is when I was like, they're going in. Like it's the obvious choice, and we've seen that for season after season. Even if it's bets, if it was something like Kyle and Amanda drowned, which we'll get into them. You know, I and DQ'd. I feel like they would be going in if they were the only team. But we end up getting kind of a montage from there of all the other teams. I did put a note that I'm loving Esther. Esther has been a lot of fun, and I'm really enjoying her. And then we ended with Amanda and Kyle. And I mean, you never know with Kyle what he's going to pull. But I was surprised because I feel like Kyle has never truly voiced a fear of heights. Like, he's mentioned it, but I feel like he's never really had a problem until this one, where Amanda jumps in. And if you look closely, I think she busts her nose a little bit too. Nowhere near as bad as Michelle, but I think she had like a tiny bit of a bleed. But Kyle is like afraid to jump in. Like, she's demanding he jump. TJ's giving him a look like, Kyle, like, you're a 2-time champ. What are you doing? And he finally jumps in. And I feel like we've never seen Kyle chicken out of a heights challenge before. So that was interesting. He's not really active on social media right now because his girlfriend's about to give birth. So he's kind of focused on family stuff. So I don't know if he'll mention it later, or I haven't seen the after show on YouTube. I don't know if it's mentioned there, but now I know Kyle has a fear of heights.
Yeah, in which case, let's just get something straight. First and foremost, this is scary no matter what. You're basically asking people to jump off. You're literally asking people to jump off a cliff into water. And whether you're a strong swimmer or not, because make no mistake, they had life jackets on. Like, that's the thing. They're not asking these people to jump in bare chested. They have life jackets on, which is another reason why they're not asking, which is why I guarantee they said you're going to jump in feet first. Don't do anything stupid. Just don't try and do a flip or anything weird, Ed. In which case, they just said just jump in and you'll be fine, feet first, and like with life jackets on. For the most part, you're not going to drown. But it's still really scary. It's one of those things like, I can't swim, but I know with a life preserver on, for the most part, I'm not going to drown. The same time, you're not going to convince me to jump 30 feet for just money. No, there has to be somebody with a gun to my head about to pull a trigger, saying I'm gonna take you and your family out if you don't jump in this water. Like, that type of thing. Life has to be in danger for me to actually pull this crap. Otherwise, it's not happening. I can't swim. So it's just one of the things, like, this is scary. So I do not judge or make fun of anybody even if they didn't finish it or were scared. That's not an issue. Now, Kyle, I am going to sit here and say, bro, you've done worser things than this. So yes, the expectations are higher from you. You jumped out of a plane before, dude. Like, let's call it what it is. You jumped out of a plane multiple times for this show. So no, like, you know what to expect. But in the end, they tally up the time. The difference in winners was less than a second. It was basically a photo finish. The winners are Ed and Tory, in which case Big T is immediately scared because she knows she sent in Tory and Anissa last season, and revenge is a bitch, and it's going to bite somebody in the ass. Ed is basically just resigning from decision making, just said, I'm going to let Tory deal with this and all the drama because of it. I'm just going to vote the way she wants me to vote. She's going to tell me a name. It's going to come out of my mouth, and we're going to agree, and we're going to call it a day. And then that's when Tory and the vets basically strategize. The numbers, according to Tory, are dead even, vets versus rookies, which means Cory, you have a right to be pissed. You had the numbers, and you were good, and it just literally went to shit because the rookies couldn't organize or come together for a second. The first day, rookies were at each other's throats, and it's like, bruh, stop it. Like, this is how vets take control of the game. This is how Wes and Bananas always came in and just took control of shit. Nobody could organize worth a damn the first day except these two, and they got their shit right. And the vets just learned from that. And I'm just like, rookies, unless you're, I forgive the foreign rookies, the rookies who are not from America, because there are some countries this show doesn't air on. So I can understand if you didn't get a chance to watch it. But for the American rookies, come the fuck on. This isn't, you've seen this show, or you've had the opportunity to watch this show. This isn't new. you know that these freaking vets are going to come in with their pre-existing relationships, and from day one are going to basically be strategizing, politicking, figure out what to do. After the first day, you should have known, okay, so the vets are going to stick together, which just makes sense. They know each other too well, and there's a crap ton of other people here. So it is what it is. But they find out the numbers are even. So she throws Big T's name out, and Devin opposes this idea. Devin throws out Emmanuel and Berna because basically Devin knows if we throw in Big T, if he's thrown in, this alliance is damn near done. It's like, yes, there's a pre-existing revenge notion for Tory, and I get it. Everyone gets it. But at the same time, bets are not trying to turn on each other yet. But basically, Tory wants revenge, and she doesn't know what she wants to do. And Devin just throws out Emmanuel and Berna as just two strong people that you need to be worried about. Then next, we get Tommy coming back from the hospital, and he is going home because he has a concussion. He's sad and disappointed. Michelle is devastated because basically the Survivor champions, the Survivor squad, got picked apart immediately. And instead of just freaking coming together and trying to strategize and do something, literally they just got taken out the first day, the first few episodes.
Really before it, because I know I told Patina this. I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast for like episode 0 or not. A lot of people have noticed Jay is missing, and people are like, why isn't Jay here when these Survivor people are here? Jay and there's another Michelle Schubert, were also supposed to be on this season, and they ended up going into quarantine with everyone. But then Jay and the other Michelle S, broke quarantine. No one knows people who were there do, but like it hasn't been leaked out what happened, only that they broke quarantine, which could have been as simple as going to the lobby, because the way MTV quarantines these people is they provide them with room service and stuff. There have been videos where people are leaning out the window to talk to each other, but they cannot leave their room for the entire 10 days. And so they ended up getting kicked off for breaking quarantine, and they brought in 2 other people. I don't know who they ended up bringing in to replace them, but that knocked away a lot of the Survivor Alliance, including the vet, who was there to kind of help them out. And then from there, the rest has been picked apart. So Michelle is just like, are you kidding me? Like, this was supposed to be our season. And now it's just me. It's just me and some international Survivor people that aren't working with her. Like, poor Michelle.
Very true.
But, Big T is upset. She's like, I feel like I'm all alone now because other vets don't trust me. Because she has some friends there, but no one with an extreme power. And because we see like her with Kyle later. Kyle and her like best friends in real life. They're close on the show, but Kyle doesn't like to make power moves. He likes to play under the radar. And of course, she's close to CT from last season. CT's game is play under the radar. So no one who's really going to like go out to protect her is left. And we hear that like apparently Tommy was training her on the treadmill. So he tells her basically, bring it home, keep training, keep doing what you have to do. Unfortunately, Tommy has said that he's retired from reality TV. When he got cast for this, he said it'd be his last show. So it's not like he went out because of the concussion. They ended up just going out naked and afraid, basically. I hope we see him again because I couldn't help it. I hope we see him again because I feel like I didn't get enough of Tommy to really make a difference, but everyone from like fans to other cast members love this guy. And so I feel like I miss seeing what Tommy's about. I've heard he's amazing as a Survivor player, and people have said if you haven't watched Survivor, like pick his seasons basically. But hopefully Tommy's doing okay. I know he's been riffing with Wes like jokingly, like they're cool. As like Ginger versus Ginger, but if we see him again, I'll be happy to see him. But then we get nominations. Tasha and Jeremiah know immediately it's them, and we were gonna have just a calm nomination because they know they're the only team who DQ'd And that if it's time to go in, it's time to go in. Jeremiah promises, like, I'll be back and I'll remember who voted me in. But if it's my time, it's my time. And instead of just letting that be it, Devin is like, well, it's not you guys, then who? And Tasha throws out Cory, Al, and Michelle. And Cory wants to just strangle this woman. And he's like, why on earth are you throwing my name out? And and Tasha's like, well, we're both rookie teams, so I have to say your name. And I'm like, Tasha, what are you doing now?
Yes, literally, Devin is running these nominations like Wes does, I swear. Just in here manipulating these rookies and turning them on each other and the rookies are just letting him, and that is the dumb thing. I mean, so much so, because she throws out Coriel's name when it's like, no, you guys could stick together, It's an even ass number of teams in this house as far as rookie votes, and the voting is individual. Give a damn what anyone else says. The voting is individual. It ain't team on team voting. The voting is individual, so it's one of those things where rookies can have a say in who the fuck they want to vote for. But point is, like, yes, they go at each other's throats and try to defend it, and like, that's all it is. In which case, rookies are basically turning on each other, but Michelle is trying to be civil. Devin is running, and basically, he also throws out Big T, and he throws out that Big T situation is Tommy's gone, so we could be looking at a female elimination. And so it's one of those things where even Tory chimes in. If you think you're going in, this is a chance for you to step up and defend yourself. And Big T's just not responding to anything not out of fear, but out of just fear of blowing up and making herself an even bigger target. I'm like, guys, this is one of those prime examples of smart things to do. Don't put a target on your back. Sometimes the smartest thing to do is to sit down and shut the fuck up. I actually had the right idea with Huey, because Huey was starting to chime in on the first damn nomination. She's like, Ashley was just like, Huey, shut up. Like, because no, talking during a nomination, unless you are a true politician and can put the shine on somebody else, newsflash, that's how you become a target. That's just how it is. Wes became a master at throwing the spotlight on someone else and pointing stuff out at somebody, pointing other people out, which allowed him to sidestep and avoid becoming the house vote 9 times out of 10. In which case, basically, the other vets respond to the doubt of Big T's loyalty. And Big T, to an extent, really doesn't say a lot except, I'm friends with people, but there's. And then the house votes. The compromise agents are, of course, Tasha and Jeremiah. And so what ends up happening then is we go back to the house. Big T talks to Tory with Kyle basically to mediate. That's all it is. Basically, make sure these two just don't start going in on each other.
I feel like Kyle, I feel like Kyle was almost like her bodyguard, like her bouncer, because Big T, I still need to watch her original show Shipwreck, because I've heard you see more of her cutthroatness there. But other than blowing up at CT last season and a little bit of her anger towards Tory this episode, Big T has played the sweet, innocent role well. And it's working well for her game politically, but she's going to need backup against Tory, because Tory's ruthless and reckless at this point. And so Kyle's just there chilling, and Tory's just, kind of jokingly saying the truth, basically, I might be saying your name, so it's the cleanest thing for my game, and there's no one else whose name I can say. And Kyle just very calmly is like, well, if you say Big T's name, then the Veteran Alliance is off. And Tory's like, well. And he's like, no, if you say Big T's name, the alliance is off. So you should consider that. And I'm like, oh, shots fired. I mentioned last season that, Big T and Kyle have to basically take over when Leroy is gone for what's left of the banana boat. And I think they're doing excellent. And Kyle is just like, this is a warning. Like, Tory, you've had bad showings the past few seasons. Do you want to start this early? And I think that scared her a little, because I think Tory truly did want to throw in Big T. And, Devin had even talked to her, and Tory still wasn't really swayed. She was, making snarky comments and nominations, where even Casey was like, Tory just needs to be quiet. She's screwing herself for in the future. But I feel like Kyle saying this kind of shook her, and she was like, oh, snap.
Very true.
So
and the best part is he didn't say flat out, oh, so you're saying it's going to be over. He's like, no, I'm not saying that, but that is what a lot of vets may say. It's like, oh, so we're throwing in vets now. Mm-hmm. So I guess this is over. This is done. And so now it's like, so he is not threatening, but he is bringing that to light. Like, you need to understand something. If you throw Big T in, the vets are going to think now it's on everyone. And so now no one's safe. Everyone's playing the game for real now. And now it's one of those things where, okay, so now we got to figure out what the fuck we're going to do. And now that's where people like CT and Ashley are a huge target, purely because they've won this before and we're not protecting vets anymore. And so now it's just, and so that's basically, it's a vague masked threat to an extent, but it is valid. And in which case this does shake Tory up so much so that she actually goes over to Tasha and Jeremiah and flat out is like, so who do you guys want? Just straight up, who do you want? Who do you guys want? And Tasha says, I want Michelle. And she honestly doesn't trust Tory that much. She kind of is like, oh, maybe this isn't that bad. But no, in the end, she truly doesn't trust Tory that much.
You can tell Tasha's, like, her instinct has kicked in, because Tory is saying she's close to Tasha, but Tasha thinks Tory is fake AF. And the way Tory's treating her, though, she starts thinking, like, she's second guessing herself, like, she's being so sweet and trying to help me and taking into consideration who I want, maybe she's nicer than I thought. Maybe I was mistaken. And I'm like, no, Tasha, trust your instincts. Because again, she's, from Nigeria. She hasn't seen the show. She doesn't know who Tory is, how Tory plays. So it's really her going at this blindly and trying to figure out the game, like, right now. And I feel bad for her. And also instinct is kicking in for Berna, because Berna is stressing hardcore that she has a feeling she's going in, and she doesn't know why, but she has a feeling. And we've seen that before, even from people that seem to be very, very safe. When they have that I'm going in, they're normally about to go in. You just kind of have that intuition. And, she's cuddling Nelson. Cory jokes that, maybe Nelson will just jump in for Berna if she gets voted in, because we remember the sweet romance moment from season 35, Total Madness, where Cory was about to get voted in and Nelson literally sacrificed himself to go in against Rogan and save Cory, so Cory could provide for his family.
Very true.
Meanwhile, Ashley has clearly been hanging around Nelson too much, because one of Nelson's strong suits is his horribly mangled one-liners, and they're very endearing to most of his fans. Like, we're living in the 2018th century, and the audacity and all the things that this man says. And Ashley says she wants Berna gone because, quote, 2 stones, 1 bird, or however it goes. And I'm like, you just pulled a Nelsonism, Ashley. Like, you've been hanging around this man too much.
She truly has. But yes, Ashley basically wants this woman to go in because she's jealous. That is all this. It's jealousy. And it's like, why? You guys are not exclusive. You are just sleeping together. There is no attachment besides a friendship. Are you going to get jealous of every woman he talks to? Even though he is acting like a fuck boy, because I swear they replayed the episode. They replayed it where, like, I'm not trying to get to know you physically, like I'm trying to get to know you mentally. And I'm just like, Berna, stop falling for this shit. That is the most classic fuckboy line I've ever heard in my damn life. Like I'm not into you physically. I'm into you because I'm into you, for you. And I'm just like, bro, stop. Like,
Um,
oh my God,
I
Nelly,
mean,
you are.
we did see Ashley on her debut season in Rivals 3, where she had a showmance with Jamie, aka Cousin, and she hallucinated that he was making out with Nicole and tried to attack Nicole in a bathroom. And everyone, even the Stir the Pot crew, like Johnny and Tony, are just like, Ashley, this didn't happen. Like, Nicole didn't make out with him. And she's like, get out! You can't pee! You can't pee! So this is just Ashley. This is just Ashley.
Oh, God, and I can't. I can't with her, and I can't with anybody who's gonna sit here. She caught feelings. Let's just say what it is. She caught feelings, and I'm gonna say it's one of those things. It's different when it's from the jump up front. We're here to have some decent sex, if not good sex, and just be friends. We're not dating. We're not gonna catch feelings for each other. I do horrible in relationships. You're not great in relationships either, because she's still out here on reality TV shows looking for love. And I'm just like, so at this point, stop. This is the point where it's like Ashley needs to stop, and yes, they need to stop sleeping with each other at this point because obviously it's one of the things, it's getting fucked up. But basically, we get to eliminations at that point. Tasha and Jeremiah they're going down, and then they throw the power couple throws out the name. We get Berna and Cory L, and Tory has to play on the drama and just be like, people up here have come and bit me in the ass, and payback's a bitch, but not tonight, because tonight we're throwing in Berna. In which case, all I'm thinking is, wow, Nelly, I guess you couldn't help that much after all. In which case, Berna goes down, and then Ed throws out Cory L's name. But that's not it, because first TJ acknowledges the vet's good work, stirring the pot. Basically, another vet team, another rookie team, 4 rookies. As Angie stated before the podcast, he basically feels the need to reiterate that rookies are going down again for 3 times in a row. And I'm just like, yeah, so even TJ's just calling this shit out, and yet the rookies aren't going to do a damn thing. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, this is it. The numbers are, I mean, it was tie game. Now, no matter what, you're going to be down because you've already lost Tommy, and someone between Berna and Tasha's going home. So now, the vet alliance, I've been imagining as a game of Jenga, and it already started out poorly. And at this point, the tower is wobbling dangerously. This is where everyone's like around the table going, oh shit, because it's about to fall. And if the rookies want to have any chance in this game, that tower needs to tumble next episode and start at least getting vets into elimination, if not eliminated, because they're going to be fighting a losing game at this point. And Cory L, he's been saying this on Twitter too. I can't wait to see him back. He better come back. It's like they had all the advantage, especially having such a strong rookie team, so many strong rookies. They could have flipped it. They still could have tried this episode because Big T was getting targeted. They could have tried to flip it on Big T, and it's too late now. He's relieved he doesn't have to go in. Ed is shocked. He's like, TJ, you made me show my hand for nothing because it didn't matter in the end. So now he's got a target on him from Cory L. And I would say Ed, Cory L, and Emmanuel are probably the 3 strongest guy rookies. So having Cory L up against you is not going to be a good thing. But they go to elimination, which is called slipping up. And they have a bunch of poles. The poles are all different sizes. And there's a V-shaped structure with poles. And they have to build a ladder using all the poles to get to the top of the structure and ring the bell. And my first thought was, I feel like this is from watching the show for 18 years. my first thought is that if this was me, I would take the polls, lay them out in size order, and then go put them up. And neither of the women did that. And it could be because they're rookies. But personally, the second I heard TJ explain it, I'm like, lay out all the polls and then just start running them up. So that way, you know, you have it right. But it was interesting to watch because it was a lot harder than I thought. There's nothing hooking them in. It's just slick polls that are rolling. So a lot of times when these women are putting the polls up on the structure, they're just falling off by them hitting them with a knee, stepping on them funny. When they jump off to get another pole, the pole falls, or they hit a pole with another pole. Like this is hard. And we see a montage of just pole after pole dropping. And you can tell Tasha's in good shape. Berna is like a circus acrobat, and both of them were just exhausted, you know, by the end of this. No matter how confident they both were going in, they're just so done. But this elimination was cool because we see some of people's, you know, alliances come out. We see CT is invested in this woman because they've been partners. And normally CT is quick to switch partners if he feels he can get someone better. But he is yelling out partners. He is being her coach. He's doing the lean forward, never back. Gravity is your friend. Find your center of gravity. Here's how to do the polls. Breathe, Berna, breathe. Like, he's invested in keeping her as a partner, which speaks volumes about Berna. Because normally I feel like CT would give some advice, but if the person went home, oh well, he can get another partner. He's CT. But he wants Berna. And on the other side, we see that most of the house seems to be helping Tasha. You know, Esther and Ashley are screaming the loudest, but a lot of people are trying to help Tasha out. So I don't know why there's more opposition against Berna. I guess they see her as the stronger of the two. But it was interesting to see who was helping who. I also had a quick note that this is a bad episode for noses, because one smacks Berna in the face and busts her nose open. I'm like, everyone's getting their noses busted open this time.
Very true. In which case, honestly, this is a longer elimination than what we're used to, just because they're both tired, they're both exhausted, they both keep losing polls, they both keep falling. And I mean, it's just one of those things, like, nobody's laughing at them, nobody's making fun of them, which is good. It's just one of those things where, for whatever reason, you know, it's an extremely hard thing. And also, it doesn't help that it's raining. These poles are bending, and it's just like, and part of me is like, God, what if one of these poles breaks? Like, just, I'm for real, just one of these poles breaks. It's like, what do you even do? You got a rookie who can't finish a competition because of malfunctioning equipment.
So behind the scenes knowledge from following these people on social media for so long, a lot of times, because remember, most eliminations are very long. Most eliminations go for at least 15 minutes, and every season there's a few that go for 90 minutes to 2 hours. And we just see this nice montage clip show, but there have been malfunctions in the equipment most seasons, and all production does is yell stop, basically, and they fix it as quick as possible. So that way people don't have a chance to like reset as quickly. There are even times where sometimes people fall and they just have to do a quick concussion check, like how they did for Jay on Total Madness. And they're like, you know, 5 minutes before we can let you continue, let's make sure that you're not seriously hurt. Or when there is a big injury, like we saw happen to Kyle last season, we saw with Jordan and Jay the season before, they'll usually give them a few minutes to be like, can you go on? So if these polls did break, I'm sure production had more polls, and they would just be like, wait, stop, no one move. And just like a lowly like Croatian cat, like crew member comes in with a new poll, and it's like, okay, reset and action.
Okay, well, that is good. Also, I just want to point out, Nelson is straight up just rooting for Berna, and Ashley is rooting for Tasha, all because this is jealousy. Nelson's just horny and needs a cuddle buddy. And at this point, I'm like, I don't want Berna to go home, but I do want somebody to slap the shit out of Nelson at this point. You fucking idiot. Because you are causing You are not helping this entire situation. I get most of this is on Ashley, but at the same fucking time, bro, no, you are not helping the situation by just flat out just literally in confessional. I need somebody to cuddle with. Get back here. I'm gonna keep the bed warm for him. Like,
also, like,
you fuck boy.
he also knows how Ashley is. Like, everyone's been saying this, especially Amanda. Like, he knows Ashley is insane. He's done shows with this woman for a good 5-6 years now. Like, it'd be different if he had like Big T or Tory or Anissa or Nani or someone where it's still gonna end poorly, but at least the girl might stay kind of quiet. Like, he knows Ashley's gonna fly off the hook, and he's openly flirting with Berna in front of her, and they're trying to keep this vet alliance going, and there's all these crumblings, and that's a main one that there's a point of contention happening right there. But you know, both women do well. It's a very close battle, but at the end, Tasha knocks her poles down right as Berna gets hers good. She reaches the top. She's like, how do I ring the bell? I'm gonna have to jump. And she jumps and rings the bell and she wins. And then Nelson says probably the creepiest thing I've ever heard on the challenge in 37 seasons. He's so excited that he's like, Daddy is waiting and he's keeping the bed warm. And I'm like, oh my God, Nelson.
I hope Berna watched this entire show and then just looked at herself like, I cannot believe I even remotely entertained interest in this man with this dumbassery.
I wasn't going to mention it because I saw a comment on Reddit and I haven't been able to fact check it or see why. But someone posted last night that Berna has blocked Nelson on Twitter.
Thank God. Thank the Lord. She has a brain.
I know when the season ended, they all flew out. I forgot where they went. Which again, if you guys are new to our podcast, that's not a spoiler. Most of these people take off the entire time frame.
Yep.
And they hang out in the country they're competing in once they're eliminated. So a lot of times once the final happens, all the finalists and several eliminated people go and they just party for a week or two. So I don't know what order any of these people finished in, but Berna and Nelson canoodled for a bit when the final was over. When I started to notice people that didn't have people running their accounts were active, so clearly the season had filmed, Berna and Nelson were together. So I'm like, who is this woman? Is she a rookie? And it turns out she was. But I know she got in some fights with Amanda after the season ended. And then she started mentioning things about things didn't work out with Nelson. And I saw someone post at like midnight last night that, you know, Berna's apparently blocked Nelson. So I need to go fact check that. I need to check her social media because I don't follow her. I've looked at her social media, but I don't follow her yet. So I need to see if that's true, or at least find that comment again and see if they have proof. But I think Berna wised up to the conversation.
Thank God.
But yeah, it's camaraderie after it ends. Berna and Tasha hug it out. Everyone seems to love Tasha. Tasha does like a fun little dance. Berna promises she's going to continue fighting in honor of Tasha. You know, she's not just going to roll over like a lot of the other rookies. And then Tasha fires some shots. She says she loves everyone except Tory Deal and points at her. Yep. And Tory does her Tory thing and pretends to be surprised. And she starts to try to explain herself, but Tasha, not ready for it. She hits her with that and won't let her speak. And she's going off about how Tory is fake and a liar. And Tory keeps trying to cut in, and Tasha's like, no. And finally, Tory's just like, will you let me effing talk? And Tasha's like, no, remember, you came in my room to ask me who I wanted. And then you stabbed me in the back. So the next time I'm on this show, you're my prime target. And Tory's just like, oh, crap. Everyone else loves it. And then Tasha like flips off the anger and she's like, but to everyone else, I love you. You guys are awesome. Sunshine, rainbows, bye. So that's about to be interesting. Next time Tasha and Tory are on a season. TJ gives Tasha a big solid.
Berna. Go ahead.
No,
I'm sorry.
like,
The sound cut out, so that's why I thought you
okay.
stopped talking. Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying TJ does Tasha a huge solid because I feel like we didn't get to see a lot of Tasha, but I feel like she's a pretty decent competitor and everyone seems to like her. TJ says she did Nigeria proud and he hopes to see her again. And it's always, you can always tell what TJ thinks about someone by their send-off, especially as a rookie. And even though TJ does not have casting power, they still listen to him to an extent. Like there's still people cast that he does not like, and there's people cast that aren't cast that he does like, but they at least give TJ a consideration. So by him saying he hopes to see her again, that's big honors. Berna chooses overwhelmingly to stay with CT. It'd be kind of dumb not to. It's CT. They work well together. He helped her out quite a bit. And also he's laying low right now, despite being a four-time champ. He's lower on the totem pole of who's gonna get attacked when this alliance crumbles of almost everyone in here. Like we're gonna see Fessy and Josh and Nelson and Kyle and Devin. They're all gonna be on that chopping block before CT. So extremely smart move for Berna to stay with him. CT throws out a suck at Devin because finally someone other than Devin's being stolen. And this leaves Big T and Jeremiah as partners, which unfortunately is a very weak team. I hope they can switch at some point because Big T is already being targeted. Jeremiah, skipped an elimination, so that's not going to be well. And Kyle ends the episode by alluding that, the Veteran Alliance is pretty much done at this point.
Basically, and it's one of those things where with the previews, we see Josh losing his shit, yelling at somebody, calling them a dumbass. Basically, it's the, as Angie pointed out, it's the episode I've been waiting for, where basically the vets are supposed to turn on each other, and now it's where shit starts to crumble. I don't believe it. I'm gonna believe when I see it. This is one of those things like this could be just a red herring or just something to make sure you watch because of fans like me who are tired of watching the same thing happen every season, and that is rookies go in first. Rookies get sent home first. We're gonna keep rookies until all of them are gone. We don't have a choice but to send in vets, and by that point, in which case it's frustrating because that is how champions are made. Because at that point, that is how guys like CT and Wes and Bananas and Ashley and any of these past winners, this is how they establish their power. You keep sending in rookies, the rookies trying to get them out first so you can just keep everybody as long as possible and vets can stay in. But then by that time, the champions have already established enough of alliances to basically put bigger targets on other people's back to make sure, just to be like, this guy's a bigger threat than me for you to even get to a final. All because vets at this point don't want the mill. They're not even caring about it. It'd be nice if they won it, but they're more concerned about their appearance fees. If I can make it to a final, that means I can damn near guarantee I'm taking six figures home with this show, what they're paying me for. Just for being here, I'm taking six figures if I make it to a final. And it's like, I'm so and I can't stand it. It is what it is, though. So that's what the next episode's going to be like. So who you got for MVP and LVP?
So for the women, MVP, I gave it to Berna. I think this sets up things well for Berna with this season and future seasons. She's got a showmance, which even though there's a lot of drama, it's always good to have a showmance. It can help you out. But we see her training the best in that workout montage. Like a lot of people are working out, a lot of people aren't, but there's a lot of focus on Berna. There's a lot of sound bites of Berna being good. When Devin is basically steering Tory's ship around of like what she should do,
Right.
Berna's the female he calls out. He's like, she's too good. The same with Emmanuel. He's like, they're too good. They need to go. They are a threat to us. So that's a positive thing. She won a hard as hell elimination, an exhausting elimination. She has the best guy on the show wanting her as a partner, and she gets to keep him. And she does get some D after that elimination as well. She is beating, a two-time female champ for the man she lusts after. So I'm giving it to Berna for the women. For the men, I'm giving it to Cory L, because even though he keeps getting voted in, he's a good competitor. He almost won this week's daily, which would have kept him out of elimination. But he's also the voice of reason, of saying the rookies should have come together and not let this happen. And he's every week saying, we still have a chance. We still have a chance. And now he's the one saying, you guys have ruined the chance. He's calling out Tasha for throwing him in. And he's keeping that still going on social media. So he is setting it up where if he keeps coming back, he's going to be a threat to look out for.
Okay, I completely understand that. I'm trying to think. All right, so MVP for me. God, for the dudes. MVP for me is Devin, just because he is sliding into his new role as master of politics, and just sliding into it very well. He's steering people and trying to steer this game and make it right to where and trying to hold things together. I have to respect that just because he's doing it very well. For the women, my MVP has to be Michelle, just because with competing with a bloody nose. Berna's definitely an honorable mention, but for me, Michelle. And then that's my MVPs for the men and women. As far as LVPs, least valuable player. Oh God. For the women, go ahead.
I was gonna say I can give you some time because I got mine. The women, I'm giving it wholeheartedly to Tory. She was the easiest of these four to pick. Tory is playing with fire, and the problem is Tory started as like an MVP rookie. She had a bunch of good seasons. She was a two-time finalist, and she's really fumbled the bag the past 2 seasons. It looks like she's fumbling it again. She's doing too much too soon. She's playing with her ego. Even a lot of her people are telling her, like, watch out. And she could be one of the reasons this alliance is about to crumble. She's got a lot of the rookies mad at her, calling her fake. IRL, she's been chased off of Twitter by Tasha's army. Like, Tory, and also Amanda blew it up that after all of her weird romance things, she was apparently trying to get Ed to sleep with her, despite him having a girlfriend, which does not sit well for Tory and her reputation. So definitely Tory is LVP for the women. For the men, Jeremiah, he was the male who DQ'd, but also he is not one of the top male rookies, and he got called into elimination and then didn't even compete. So I feel like he is going to be an easy target from here on out to be like, you never earned your stripes, bruh. Go back in. So I feel bad for him unless he can switch to a better partner than Big T. No offense to Big T, because I love her. It's not looking good for Jeremiah.
Understandable. My LVP is for the women does have to be Tory. She just just basically teased too much and made some weird, if not bad, decisions. And also apparently, yes, if she did try and actually kind of pull the hoe card and be like trying to convince Ed to, fuck her, and like, your girlfriend will never know. She'll never know. Shh, just be quiet. Shh, let this happen. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If you kind of pulled that, I'm like, I don't like using that term, but at the same time, trying to break up a happy home, it's one of those things where it's like, bruh, yeah, you're the problem. And then as far as the guys, for LVP. Despite his performance, I gotta go with Huey. Like, sorry, Huey dog, man.
Fair enough.
Like, bruh, I'm like, sorry, dog. I throwing up and all this other stuff. I'm like, bruh, if you don't want to do it, don't do it, but you overcame it. And I get that, but I'm sorry, LVP. Jeremiah may have panicked at the bottom, but he had the balls to jump without hesitation. So I gotta give LVP to Huey.
Sounds fair to me. Devin was almost my MVP for the men. I mean, I mentioned before how a lot of these vets are finally coming into their own with a lot of the super vets going out, like, you know, Johnny, Wes, Cara, Laurel, Teresa, Leroy. A lot of these people are leaving and either semi-retiring or fully retiring at this point. CT, I feel like only got a couple more in him. This man is 41. And despite the shape he's in, his body has got to be killing him after these challenges now.
Exactly.
And this is the role Devin always wanted. Like when Devin was on Are You the One, he was the mastermind. He's the reason his season won. Spoiler, but the show's been out for 8 years now, so I don't care. You know, and then he did Second Chances, and he won that season. He beat everyone. Tory was the runner-up, but he won with a partner some people felt was lackluster because he has these skills. And then he entered the challenge and wanted to be a mastermind. And Wes kind of took him in as a little protege, but that's as far as it went. He had this huge rivalry with Johnny. A lot of people were talking about how cocky he is. And at that point, he was, you know, the bro who just drinks foamers and doesn't work out and has a beer gut. And Devin since then has, you know, and I think, you know, trauma can change people. Devin's dad passed away when he was filming Final Reckoning, and he took a couple seasons off after that. So maybe that changed something in him, but he started working out. So he's still not the biggest threat, but he's in much better shape. But he's learned enough about the game, and enough of these super vets have retired that Devin finally can start running shit the way he wants. He might never be a champ, but I can see Devin starting to make it to finals again. It's been years since he was in a final, and that was basically a fluke. I can see Devin at least making it to, you know, 4th or 3rd place if he plays the cards right, because he's able to get in people's heads and steer things where he created chaos in nominations, and his head was not on the chopping block. Like whereas when Josh did it, Josh's head got on the chopping block. Like, dude, shut up. People just let Devin go with it. So we're seeing Devin finally come into his own, where he's going to be a massive player the next few seasons.
I completely agree. And on that note, hit him with them socials.
So you can find me on all social media at the Angie Chew. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, it's youtube.com/the Angie Chew. If you're not, we do have a YouTube version of the podcast where you guys can see our wonderful faces. And I'm sure you've heard my son in the background. He is on this episode as well. All their social media is also at the Angie Chew. So that is, you know, my Twitter, my Instagram, my TikTok, all of that good stuff. Also, I'll go ahead and plug my website, which is theangiechew.net, because I am a novelist. I've got another book coming out next Tuesday. So you can go to my website and read an excerpt and figure out where to buy it, and the rest of my books there as well. And my website also has links to all my social media, including links to this podcast.
Dope. You can find me on the Snapchat at @PapaD618. You can find me on Twitter at @PapaD618. You can find me on Instagram at @PapaD618. You can find me on the Facebook. Do not find me on the Facebook. I basically don't accept any friend requests for people I don't know on there. But you can find me on there. Don't. You can find me on the TikTok at @PapaD_618. If you find me on the TikTok, send me videos of commercial truck drivers, basically truck drivers on the road driving their cabs and driving their 18-wheelers and doing stuff that seems cool. Not gonna lie, that was a that at this point has become a slight career interest or choice, just because I heard it pays decently, and it's one of those things where at this friends and stuff, but it wouldn't be a horrible life. But so send me those videos. And also please go to Angie's website. At some point we'll probably sell merch. I don't know. We'll look into that. If we do, it's gonna be through Angie's site.
I'm hoping to sell merch because I do have a merch site that I used when I was streaming to Twitch a lot, so it'd be easy to incorporate that. We talked about doing merch over a year ago, when we were doing Total Madness, which was the first season we did.
Yes.
But I was secretly pregnant and having morning sickness and never could really execute it. But we can totally do some bananas toast merchandise. Also, speaking of bananas, I have to rep another podcast. Johnny has started his own podcast where he recaps these episodes as well. It's actually really good. To the point where people on Reddit are mad because they're like, I hate Johnny Bananas, but I actually like this podcast. And they're listening to it. And they're like, I don't want to like it, but I do. And that's because IRL, Johnny's not a dick bag. So people actually like it. But this episode, I'll be listening to after we get through recording, because again, I don't like listening to other podcasts until we've done our episodes, so I don't accidentally rip people off. But Wes is a guest, and there was like a preview, and apparently Johnny's nickname for Wes is Bergie, and they're adorable together, and they are still like my favorite romance ever on the challenge. I need them back for one more season just to get a season of them working together, because I love their interactions on social media. But I'll be listening to that, and I've heard good things from his podcast for episode 3, so I'm hoping he and Wes do not disappoint.
We will see. Well, peace, love, and pancakes, y'all.
Bye-bye.
You are listening to the Angie True Podcast Radio Network.